The hallmarks of postmodernism is words create reality. You got to understand that words create reality. It's a Marxist understanding, and I don't use that word lightly. It actually is a Marxist philosophy derived from Karl Marx, that if you believe your situation is good, but someone changes the words on you, you can be made to believe your situation is bad. If you believe the sky is blue and everyone around you tells you no, the sky is green and the grass is blue, you'll eventually come to call the sky green and the grass blue. It's a hallmark of postmodernism derived from Marxism that it is words that create reality. Reality does not exist but for words. The reality must be articulated, and how you articulate it matters. You have to understand that to understand what's happening here. So at the opening ceremonies of the Olympic Games, everyone saw a scene from The Last Supper using drag queens and trans performers, and people were offended. Even the Ayatollah of Iran was offended. Jesus is a prophet in Islam. And even the Ayatollah complained. And what did the French do? They say it did not happen, that it was actually the Feast of Bacchus. Now, Sortia Paris is a tourism website, and it had a rundown and a preview of the program. Now, you should know that in the official program, if any of your friends come back from the Olympics and they went to the opening ceremony, they will have a copy, if they attended the opening ceremony, of the official program. And the official program title that was seen on television at the time, on the chyron at the bottom, was La scène sur un scène sur la Seine. La scène sur un scène sur la Seine, which means the Last Supper on a stage on the Seine, the River Seine. The Last Supper on a stage on the Seine. So why did they name it the Last Supper if it was a bacchanalia? Well, this is the Sortia Paris was a tourism website for Paris, and on the day of the Olympic Games had a rundown of what you would see at the Olympic Games. What it says is on Passerelle de Billy is a familiar scene reenacted by drag queens, including the famous Nikki doll surrounding Barbara Butch at her turntables, a recreation of The Last Supper, another famous painting by Leonardo da Vinci, set against the backdrop of the Seine. As you may have guessed, this is a multiple pun in French. A fashion show follows, paying homage to the capital of fashion. That is Sortia Paris. That was their website beforehand. Now, what's so notable about this is after all of the outrage, they've deleted that article. What's so interesting, if you go to their website, you can find references in different languages to a familiar scene led by Nikki doll surrounding Barbara Butch on her turntable. It's in different languages, but if you were to click through to the articles have those paragraphs now deleted. And then there's Barbara Butch as well, who was the performer at the center at the table where Christ would sit. And on her Instagram noted, oh yes, the new gay testament. And she had a picture of herself surrounded by the drag and trans performers and a picture of Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper of Christ. But then the director came out and said, no. This was based on another picture of a bacchanalia of the Greek gods. And she deleted that. And now it says, we'll forever be proud and support this moment of art reference, the Feast of the Gods. So before the outrage, they were willing to say the Last Supper. And after the outrage, he said, I don't know what you were seeing. You were seeing something else. You weren't seeing the Last Supper. You were seeing another painting that itself was mocking the Last Supper, but we were actually using that painting, not the painting of the Last Supper. It wasn't about the Last Supper. The tourism guides said it was the Last Supper. The actual chyron, which is notable because the Olympics have now demanded that everybody take down, under their copyright, the depiction. If you go online and you try to find the video now on YouTube, you get, this doesn't come up. If you pull up the video on Twitter, it won't play. You'll get a notice due to copyright. You're not allowed to play it. What the chyron said was La scène sur un scène sur la Seine. which in English means the Last Supper on a stage on the Seine. It's in the program. This is postmodernism. They now deny it. They say they didn't. They're sorry if you were offended. They didn't offend you. Beforehand, the tourism guide was willing to say that it was about the Last Supper. They've now deleted it. If you go in, you can see the links in the search engine for that website. But if you actually try to scroll through, they've deleted the paragraph. It's remarkable gamesmanship. But there's a larger issue here, because this goes to the entirety of the left's tactics about everything and how they intend to manipulate you. And this is why so many people are believing conspiracy theories. So, for example, this is a political example today. The Politico this morning is running a headline: Harris campaign pledges she won't ban fracking after Trump accusation. Trump allegations come as Kamala Harris is expected to moderate her position on energy issues after she had been one of the more liberal candidates running for the party's nomination. It's not a Trump accusation. Kamala Harris in the 2020 Democratic primary came out in favor of banning fracking. She said it on CNN. She would ban fracking. So it's not a Trump accusation. It's actually Harris's position. Well, after Andy, what's his name, K-File, Kaczynski at CNN pointed out the revisionist history of the Politico headline, Politico has now changed the headline. What the headline now says is Harris campaign pledges she won't ban fracking. Trump's allegation comes as Kamala Harris is expected to moderate her positions. They still refuse to note that Kamala Harris actually did say she wanted to ban fracking. And so what they've done now is they've appended a note at the bottom. And it says, background, Trump's allegations come as Harris is expected to moderate her positions on energy issues after she had been one of the more liberal candidates running for the party's nomination for the 2020 election. It never actually says that Kamala Harris actually did explicitly call for banning fracking, which she did. This is Politico revising history. They're doing the same damn thing that they're doing with the Olympics. It was the Last Supper beforehand. The travel guide said so. The Cryon on television said so. The program for the Olympics said so. The drag performer on Instagram said so. And then there was international outrage, including from the Ayatollah Khamenei himself from Iran, because Jesus is a prophet in Islam. And now, no. She deleted that and put up, this was about something else. They've deleted it from the travel tourism website. They've come out and they've denied it. They've memory holed it. NBC News ran a story about it, that it was drag performers recreating Da Vinci's The Last Supper. And when they came out and said, no, we weren't doing that, NBC News ran a story and said, conservative Christians say it was about the Last Supper, but the director says it had nothing to do with the Last Supper. So then why did you originally report it as the Last Supper? Or GovTrack with Kamala Harris in 2019. They listed Kamala Harris as the most progressive United States senator. It's a nonpartisan website, and GovTrack has deleted that from their website now. It doesn't exist. You can find Norah O'Donnell on television asking Kamala Harris about the nonpartisan website GovTrack, saying you're the most progressive senator, and Kamala Harris has an awkward laugh about it and no response. But you can't find it on GovTrack's website now, because they've deleted it. Look at the revisionist history of the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. You have the left quibbling over what he got shot with. And finally, the New York Times, to its credit, and I was surprised over the weekend, a forensic analysis says Trump was most likely hit with a bullet or fragment from a bullet, noting that contrary to initial reports, the teleprompter was never shot by the guy. The teleprompter never shattered, so it couldn't have been the teleprompter, had to be a bullet. The left wants you to not believe reality. Or think about the drag queen story hours. It's not happening, but when it does happen, it's a good thing. You know, that this is the pattern of the left. We deny that it's happening. We refuse to acknowledge it's happening. If it was happening, though, it was a good thing. 2 years later, they're like, of course it's happening, you bigot. Why do you hate drag queen story hour? What happens is people who keep seeing this stuff and then see it deleted, they begin to turn to conspiracy theories. People don't trust the truth anymore. Now, there is a simple solution to this, and that is to speak the truth. You know, in Scripture, one of the verses about make your yes be your yes and your no be your no. What that actually is in reference to is the pagan culture of Rome, which, hey, I got a whole book, You Shall Be as Gods, that covers this. In Roman times, in paganism, very much like postmodern times, words constructed reality. And your yes might not actually mean yes, and your no might actually mean no, and there were great suspicions of people. And the result was, here comes this newfangled religion, Christianity, where the leader of the religion and his apostles are saying, you got to speak the truth. When you say yes, you have to mean yes, and when you say no, you have to mean no, because it contradicted the pagan culture of the time. It's one reason that, so Christians were told not to be litigious, not to sue each other. Roman society, lawsuits were sport. When they weren't in watching the gladiatorial games, they were in court watching people sue people. The lawyers became very famous. The lawyers were considered entertainers. And so the early Christians were admonished to not reflect that culture around you. Let your yes be your yes, your no be your no. Let your truth be the truth, not your truth, but the truth. And it stood in stark contrast to the pagans. We're seeing the paganism of the Olympics. The early Christians also didn't participate in the Olympics, and the Roman emperors, once they became Christian, they banned the Olympics because they were dedicated to the pagan gods and used to celebrate the pagan gods. If you're a person of faith, you should think about these things. I'm not saying don't watch the Olympics. I think you should. It was fantastic watching the Israeli judo player take out the arm of the Turkish player who refused to shake hands with him. And the Americans are beating up everybody. It's great to see. We're winning. But we should also be mindful of what the truth is. And what we're seeing with the left is they don't care about the truth. They care about the usefulness of lies to get their way. And we should be on guard from that, whether it's defending Kamala Harris or revising what happened at the Olympics. What we are seeing is a postmodern left lying because they believe a lie can recreate reality to their benefit.